Seekers here at the Portland Expo to see how they're adjusting and what city officials have promised them.
Plus, a wall honoring hundreds of heroes continues to grow in Biddeford.
How far would you go to get 10 or 15,000 likes on Facebook? Would you go to jail? This is New Center now.
Hey everyone, I'm Keith Carson in for Lee tonight.
You're pulling double duty, weather and reading the news. And I'm Lindsay Mills. More than 200 asylum seekers are still being housed at the Portland Expo, and as city officials work to keep everyone comfortable, local immigration lawyers are working as fast as they can to get families the legal help they need.
Yeah, our Samantha York was at the Expo speaking to those asylum seekers and city leaders today. She joins us now with more.
Hey guys, so city officials tell us that immigration attorneys with ILAP, which is the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project in Portland, they've been speaking with asylum seekers at the Expo all week, letting them know their next steps legally. And those inside the Expo say it's giving them hope that their future here in Maine could start sooner rather than later. Music and children's laughter echo throughout the Portland Expo Wednesday as more than 60 families seeking asylum wait for their next move.
The concern is that what is next? They're asking if they're going to sleep here forever.
So far, the answer to that question has not been clear. Now, more than a week after the initial intake of asylum seekers, city funds are dwindling, and Portland officials still don't have a solid plan for temporary housing.
It is a crisis.
Volunteers like Douglas Mapai are working tirelessly to get these folks connected with the services they need. But he says it's not easy.
They don't qualify for anything, not general assistance, not housing. The fact that the city is here providing them with this, it's one thing, but the other piece is missing, and that's related right away with their immigration status.
Immigration attorneys with ILAP, or the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project, have been helping these asylum seekers all week, explaining their rights and what's next in the immigration process. As asylum seekers, getting financial assistance and the green light to work is more complicated than someone with refugee or immigrant status.
That is creating a sense of insecurity for them. They don't feel secure.
With no indication of how many more asylum seekers could be headed to Portland, city leaders remain firm in their welcoming approach. And the families remain confident that their new home will provide them with everything they need. Now, city officials tell us that the number of families staying at the shelter is actually dropping. However, they're not keeping track of where those families are going once they leave. So it's not clear if they're staying here in Portland or if they're moving on to other cities or even Canada. They are hoping to have all of the asylum seekers out of the Expo, though, within the next few weeks. Guys, back to you.
Some more clarity today.
Yeah, it kind of strikes me having a baby. I see those pack and plays and I'm thinking, like, that'd be so hard to get a baby to be comfortable in that environment. Like, it's just crazy in there, you know.
As a parent, you see it through
I
lens.
see like, wow, would Lucas sleep in that? I guess if he had to, he would eventually. All right.
The rain, though, today was nice.
It was okay. Yeah.
It actually turned out to be better than I was thinking. But
because you weren't listening to me yesterday.
Exactly.
Look, fog is actually, I kind of dig fog, and that's good because we live in Maine. But like a little, it was started out foggy, and you can see it on the satellite. This is from this morning till now, and look at that. We'll go back around here in a second. Look at that fog bank right there, shrinking, moving offshore. Now we've got some high, thin clouds moving very quickly across the southern part of the state. High temperatures were in the 80s in Freiburg at 81 in Berlin as well, 77 in Waterville, 76 in Bangor, only in the 60s along the coast, and of course, that is because of the fog that we had earlier. We just couldn't get the sun through, and temperatures suffered as a result. In fact, we sea breezed on top of that to make it even more fun. Down to 56 in Rockland, but still 72 in Augusta and 74 in Waterville. This is certainly the time of the year where the coast just doesn't do as well. It's much nicer inland. You get away from that marine influence. Tonight is mostly cloudy. Fog comes back on shore. later on this evening, or not even that late in a lot of spots. Tomorrow's a cloudy day, a couple of showers through the first half of the day. It's not bad until probably 1 or 2 o'clock. Then we get into some heavier downpours. Those come through, Lindsay, through tomorrow night and into Friday. Good news, though, the weekend is still looking pretty solid, so we'll talk about that in just a few.
Sounds good, Keith. Thanks. Taking a look at some news headlines now. A House subcommittee held a hearing today on whether to study possible reparations for slavery. A bill under consideration would establish a commission to study and develop reparation proposals. The bill would not simply hand out checks to descendants of former slaves. The bill cites not just slavery, but what followed, racism, white supremacy, and Jim Crow laws as reasons for the study. Today's hearing being held on June 19th, known as Juneteenth, the day in 1865 when former slaves in Texas were the last to learn the war had ended and that they were free. San Francisco is considering becoming the first in the U.S. to ban all sales of electronic cigarettes to crack down on youth vaping. City supervisors were set to weigh in on a ban of the sale and distribution of e-cigarettes in San Francisco until the U.S. Food and Drug Administration completes a review of the effects of those e-cigarettes on public health, as well as ban manufacturing e-cigarettes on city property. E-cigs since 2014 have been the most commonly used tobacco product among people in the whole country. More women are smoking marijuana while pregnant.
I saw you just out there, just down here. I think it's good for the baby.
Government researchers analyzing data from over 467,000 women who were between the ages of 12 and 44. Overall, 7% of women said they smoked marijuana while pregnant in 2017. That's an increase of just over 3% in 2002. And the women who smoked while in their first trimester increased from nearly 6% to 12%. Pot use during pregnancy has been associated with effects on fetal growth, including low birth weight. A new survey from AAA shows driving high is seen as somewhat safe.
We are just all in on the weed right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety survey found that more than 13% of Americans view driving within an hour of using marijuana as only slightly dangerous or not dangerous at all. And nearly 70% of respondents think a driver is unlikely to be caught by police when driving within an hour of using marijuana. Nationally, an estimated 14.8 million drivers report getting behind the wheel within an hour after using marijuana. AAA recommends all motorists avoid driving while impaired by weed or any other drug, alcohol obviously, to avoid arrest and keep the roads safe. We're done with the weed for now. Okay. We might come back to it. I'm not sure. I didn't read ahead. Obesity rates for preschoolers on government food aid have dropped.
That's according to a new CDC study that included over 12 million young children. Roughly 14% of kids in the federal Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Program, or WIC, were obese in 2016. That's a decline from 16% in 2010. Experts believe improvements in the program's food options may have led to this drop.
I think we're going in the right direction with that. I think we used to think, let kids be kids, which is kind of true, but it starts habits.
Right.
We gave Lucas some ice cream the other day. Then we tried to stop giving it to him, and it was a nightmare. So now he's off the ice cream.
You opened that can of worms.
Straight kale, homie, from now on. All right. Coming up, a store known for selling electronics is now saving space for fitness equipment.
Okay, and a Heroes Wall is a place for veterans and their loved ones to pause and reflect. We'll take a visit there later on Now. So Keith, so Luca's not about not having ice cream now?
So we gave it to him at Red's a while ago. He didn't like it the first time, and then we gave it to him at Smiling Hill Farm this weekend, and he liked it so much that when we tried to stop giving it to him, he had a temper tantrum.
Oh.
And because he's at that age now where he can do that, where he's like, I'm really mad about this decision you made.
Oh,
you know?
So what does he throw? He throws a tantrum?
Yeah, he's a toddler now.
Buddy.
He collapses on the ground.
Does he really?
Yeah, and just starts crying.
No.
And I'm like, okay.
Has he done it to you at the grocery store yet?
No, he has not done it. I guess that was public, but I don't know. I think he's going to have a bad day because that stuff just doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I would rather him not scream on the ground. But I'm like, meh, as long as I know he's not in pain or he's just trying to learn if it's going to get him the thing he wants or whatever. But he was so into the ice cream, he was like dancing around. Like we gave him a spoon, another spoon, and then he started going like this. like waiting for more. And we're like, all right, I think you're done, buddy.
Oh, buddy. Has he tried any other new foods recently?
We give him everything, really. You know, like whatever we eat, we chop it up and give it to him. He'll eat almost anything. I'm trying to think what he's rejected recently. He threw salmon on the ground the other day. He was like,
salmon.
he was taking bits of the rest of the meal and eating it and then just tossing those over his shoulder.
Oh my God, how funny.
But I read something that you should try 10 times to give a kid something they apparently don't like, because that is the magic number for whether or not they truly don't like it.
10 times.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because sometimes like he loves banana, and then one day he'll just be like, no, I don't like banana.
Yeah.
And then he's back to banana. You know, it's like,
That's so funny. So he's like off baby food completely?
oh yeah, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
eats food, yeah.
That's awesome.
He's got like 5 or 6 teeth, so he can chew a little bit. You got to break it up for him, but
Sure.
but he,
Oh, those
he
little
gnaws
teeth.
at it.
Yeah.
It's easier, actually. I mean, he still drinks actual milk, like whole milk, twice a day.
Oh, little guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Paula kept up with all that. I would have probably still had him on puree like an idiot. She was like, no, he's supposed to eat food now. I'm like, all right, let's give him food.
I see. I don't know any of these things.
Yeah,
I literally have
you
to just
can-
take it one
there's
step
an app
at a
for that.
time.
That's-
Yeah. Take it one step at a time.
All right, Halloween might look a little different in Tokyo this year. It's interesting. I was just thinking about that. What is Halloween going to look like in Tokyo this year? And we have a story on it.
It's like we can read your
Damn.
mind. Okay, a regulation in one area of Tokyo is banning drinking in public places such as streets, parks, and other areas during Halloween and the day before. It also prohibits causing public nuisances such as blaring loud sounds and climbing on streetlights. So this is a thing? Last year's Halloween was marred by troubles such as a truck toppled over by drunken young people. It remains to be seen, though, if the law will actually keep people in check, because it does not impose penalties. So note to self, no traveling to Tokyo or this area of Tokyo around Halloween. Duly noted. Charitable giving dropped last year under the new tax law.
According to Giving USA, Americans gave less to charity in 2018 than the previous year. Charitable giving by individuals dropped 3.4%, adjusted for inflation, to $292 billion after increasing 4 consecutive years. However, giving by foundations and corporations increased. Experts say the new tax law reduced incentives to donate for many households. Among the top charitable causes Americans supported, religion and education, although both were down in contributions. The only categories that saw an increase in giving were the categories of international affairs, environmental, and animal organizations. Always with the animals. All right, Best Buy is getting into the fitness game. For the first time, shoppers will be able to purchase workout equipment at Best Buy stores. The big box retailer is adding a dedicated fitness space. Alongside TVs, laptops, and other electronics, the new fitness products include spin bikes, connected treadmills, rowing machines, muscle rollers, whatever that is, and more. They'll be in more than 1,000 stores across the country in the coming months. However, shoppers can purchase the fitness products online now at bestbuy.com, because nothing says I'm serious about fitness like being too lazy to pick up a piece of exercise equipment in person.
I don't know what muscle roller is either, so you're making me feel better.
I wonder if it's the thing that you lay down on if you've got like a sore back and you
the
go back
rollers.
and forth. I've never heard the word muscle put in that.
No,
I've heard
not-
just like
yeah,
a foam roller.
A roller, foam roller. Those are amazing.
I don't know.
Well, today, one of the most famous Mainers reflecting on the gift of life. Stephen King tweeting out today on June 19th, 1999, I got hit by a van while taking a walk. As I lay unconscious at the hospital, the doctors debated amputating my right leg and decided it could stay on a trial basis. I got better. Every day of the next 20 years since has been a gift. Every tweet from Stephen King is like a short story.
And that's the only short story he's ever written.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
reading a Stephen King book right now, and this is not a joke, that I started 3 months ago. And
Wow.
I've read it every day. Now, granted, I'm a slow reader. Everybody at home could probably tell that. But still, that is ridiculous.
It's
good, though.
It's an investment.
good.
Well, you also have a little one at home too,
Right.
so finding the time to read
That
can
is
be
true.
challenging. Next, we'll learn more about the Hero Wall that's honoring veterans and raising money for local veterans at the same time.
Plus, I shall do the weather, reluctantly.
I love this. Ah.
years later.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Bad juju.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
It is. Thank you, Seth, for getting it.
So Keith, I know you're setting up for full weather, but we are in the newsroom with a package right before. I gotta pull up Facebook. I still haven't done that. D.
It's so bad that I don't remember the name of it. Hold on.
He's blanking on the name.
I gotta look it up.
He'll look it up.
Because it's on a Kindle, so when it's on a Kindle, you forget what the name of the book is.
A lot of you guys obviously joining in on the asylum conversation again today.
It's called The Shining or something.
The Shining?
No, I've read The Shining.
No. Oh, I tried. My belly's too big. I tried to reach something I could normally reach.
Okay.
Oh,
It
thank
is.
you.
Where is it?
Thank you.
Oh, look at! Did you bring my?
I
Oh,
did.
it's so nice.
Yeah.
The Talisman is what it's called.
The Talisman?
Yeah, it's like 1,200 pages, I think.
I do want to see the remake of Pet Sematary. Have you seen the original?
I have not. Oh,
It did? Oh, it did not get good reviews? No.
we got to the part of Chernobyl that you talked about last night,
Oh.
and we skipped through it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody has to see that part. There was a time we were at Bayside Bowl at a Stephen King viewing night of It, but we had terrible seats, so our seats looked at everybody that were watching the movie.
Yeah.
So it was actually more exciting to people freaking out.
Right,
at
I
certain
could see
parts.
that. I didn't see it either, actually. The recent one.
It's freaky.
Hundreds of stories about local heroes are on display in Biddeford.
And soon at the Heroes Wall in Biddeford, there will be hundreds more. It's a place for veterans to pause and reflect.
This is my brother Steve. He was in the U.S. Coast Guard.
There's a place in Biddeford
My uncle, Alan McGinnis, as you can see, 3 Purple Hearts.
that's special to many.
This is my cousin Mary. She was in the U.S. Army. She was a medic, late 50s, early 60s.
The Heroes Wall, honoring hundreds of Maine veterans, more than 300 tiles, all with a different story.
Myself, I was in Vietnam.
Mike McGinnis is one.
It brings all of us together, all us veterans.
It just grew into something much bigger than I ever expected it to be.
Located outside Vogue Packaging, it was the idea of the company's owner, Derek Vogue.
Landry French, a company in Scarborough, built the entire wall free of cost.
The 50-foot wall, standing 7 feet tall, was a community effort with inspiration from other sites across Maine and beyond. It was unveiled just over a year ago, but not complete.
Somewhere around 700 veterans honored by the time it's all full, both sides.
No matter how much this wall will expand, its purpose remains set in stone.
This is a marvelous tool to keep that story alive.
Now, with every tile purchased, the Heroes Wall has raised $25,000 for the local VFW. And this weekend, many Maine veterans will be meeting in Bangor for the annual Veterans of Foreign Wars State Convention. They're very much looking forward to that annual event.
It's amazing how quickly you have to keep history in the forefront. Like when we're talking about World War II veteran, how we're running out of them, right?
Right.
So now you're in that memorial phase.
You have
at
to
that
keep
point.
those stories alive.
Yeah.
So.
What'd you think of today? You
know what? It was actually really
Okay.
nice out there. The lighting was perfect for the wall because it was a little overcast.
The lighting was
So
good.
there, I guess on really sunny days, you get like a bright reflection
Right.
into the wall.
Right, and I that's what I was saying about fog. I don't mind like a glowing fog. You know, like not That sounds weird.
The buildings disappeared last night around downtown Portland.
Yeah, I love
it was
watching
so
fog
thick.
roll in, I think, is part of it. It's like a
Yes.
very small
Spooky.
scale weather thing. And you can see on the visible satellite, again, we're going to start over with this morning. This is 12-hour loop, and you can see that fog really thick and then getting thinner and thinner and finally getting pushed offshore about the middle of the day in most spots. It'll be back though tonight as it rolls back in from the ocean. Current temperatures, huge differences depending on where you are. 78 in Freiburg, 79 in Millinocket, beautiful, but it is 56 in Rockland and 60 in Wiscasset, much, much cooler along the coastline because of that fog, obviously, and just the general marine air influence that is in place along the coast. So tonight, watch that fog bank come right back. It creeps right back on in through 9, 10 o'clock tonight, midnight for sure, it'll be there. And then tomorrow starts foggy, and away from the coastline, it's just cloudy. Couple of showers through the first half of the day, but again, the main theme is that we're just not going to see any sun here. Late in the day, we start to get some heavier precipitation coming in. It looks pretty heavy here through the afternoon, through the evening, downpours. A rumble of thunder can't be ruled out, although Jess and I were talking about it doesn't have that many convective characteristics to it, but on this model, it looks like it would be thundery, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Generally, 50s are kind of hard to get thunderstorms cooking. It's just not enough upward rising air. But we'll watch that. It's going to be heavy rain regardless through tomorrow night, through Friday, and I think this model's a little fast in clearing us out. I don't think it's till the afternoon that we clear out on Friday. Then we're in good shape for the weekend. I like the weekend. I like both days. I like Sunday better, though, and we'll talk about why in just a second. Rainfall amounts, these are probably pretty juiced up, but there's a possibility for over 2 inches of rain in isolated locations that see some of the heavier downpours, which is trending towards the coastline. So we'll keep an eye on that. Flash flood guidance tells us that we can handle 2 inches of rain without any flooding, so we should be good there. All right, so the weekend again looks good. Saturday is a breezier day though, and so it loses a few points for me at least because of that. And then Sunday is just gorgeous. There's really not much wind. It's warmer, so Sunday's your day. But both days are pretty nice. All right, the weekend's good. Monday looks pretty good. The 80s, the low to mid 80s that we thought would be there Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know. The European model is crushing our dreams, so we'll have to see what happens there. It reminds me of like this, early spring when we can't get the front all the way through.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens, but we'll worry about that when we get there. The weekend certainly is looking pretty solid.
I love the abbreviation GORGE.
Just gorge.
Just gorge.
It is. I think Sunday is going to be fantastic. And again, Saturday's not bad. It's just a little breezy, and I've noticed that you can lose points for that, especially if you want to be on the water, something like that.
Right.
So.
You'll have to have some extra layers.
Got to be ready for that. All right. A Connecticut man who told police he would turn himself in if his wanted poster got 15,000 Facebook likes surrendered to police this morning. 30-year-old Jose Sims was wanted by police in Torrington for failing to appear in court on a variety of charges. The page far surpassed that number, but there was no sign of Sims for weeks until today when he turned himself in to police in Enfield, Connecticut. Police said the wanted poster on Facebook for Sims received 29,000 likes and over 17,000 comments. Just a normal day for Lindsay Mills' selfie game with the bomb lighting. Right?
Oh, that's hysterical. Oh, I guess.
I guess he probably was
for
going to turn himself in anyways, I would think.
Let's hope.
But it's not worth going to jail for Facebook likes.
No, definitely not.
Instagram, maybe.
How about this? Can your Alexa hear you clearly, or do you struggle sometimes? There's new technology coming out to help her hear you, or it hear you. A British company is using artificial intelligence technology to cancel out background noise, ensuring your smart speaker can hear you no matter how noisy the room is. The company Audio Intelligence calls it autofocus for sound. A typical smart speaker reportedly recognizes 84% of items on a shopping list spoken in a quiet environment, but when it's noisy, it will only understand 22% of what you say. Audio Intelligence says this new technology will make Alexa 94% accurate, even if you're talking from a noisy kitchen or coffee shop.
Were you worried that Alexa couldn't hear you?
I know.
I was not worried
It's probably
about
better
that.
if she doesn't hear my
Pretty
shopping
sure
list.
she's hearing it all. Yep.
Well, just 2 months after it first hit theaters, Avengers Endgame will reportedly be re-released on the big screen next week with a couple new features in an apparent effort to eclipse Avatar for the biggest box office haul in history. Comicbook.com and Screen Rant both cite the president of Marvel Studios, who confirmed the re-release is expected next Friday, June 28th. The film was first released in April. Marvel says that it won't be extended or the director's cut of the 3-hour film will be there, but it will have some features that you might see if you bought the DVD. And according to CNBC, Endgame's current box office total worldwide is just over $2.7 billion. Avatar's record is also just over $2.7 billion, just a little bit more though.
That span of time just showed how much our producer Isaac thinks I cannot read. Because that was like 5 minutes that I was like, yeah, tell me about Endgame. I have not seen that movie yet, by the way, so if someone wants to spoil it for me as a payback for Game of Thrones, you can just tweet at me.
There's already a spoiler in the
Is there?
new Spider-Man movie teaser that
You've
they've been playing.
You've seen Endgame, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already spoiling it. They assume everyone has already seen
Isn't
it.
it
So
3.5 hours long? And I feel like with baby life, that's just not.
No.
It's just not working out yet.
No.
That's not going to work out for you. You're going to have to
good
wait
luck.
for DVD or Netflix.
Yeah.
All right.
All
what
right.
do
We
you
got a lot coming up at 5:30. Starting with a dog attacks a 5-year-old girl in Topsom. What its owner is saying tonight. And as the Maine legislature has been trying to wrap up work for the year, a group of protesters is asking them to force more changes in the state's child protective program. And if you were missing Governor Paul LePage, maybe you should stop by for a drink. We're checking out his new summer job as a bartender. That's all ahead on News Center at 5:30.
I'm so in on that.
Yeah?
I'm just hugely in on
Go
that.
have a
I don't
drink.
know where it is yet, so I'll check that out.
That would be if you took a picture with him while bartending,
Right.
that would be a post that
And
would
I
get
would tip. I would
lots
tip
of
well.
likes.
His tip game is going to be pretty strong, I would think.
Yeah,
I would think
so.
With at least 50% of the people, whoever voted for him, right?
Right.
So you want to know where to go for a drink? Watch at
I do.
5:30.
Very good, Amanda. Thanks. We're back with Brain Drops after this. Amanda, it looks good there.
I'm
Do you
here.
like it?
I am here
Yeah.
for. Yeah, I like that. I do like it.
It's awesome.
That's one of those that like tomorrow you'll be trying to replicate. This is what happens when you go to like a fair person. Yeah. And you're like, hello.
100%.
And then the next day she's like, what the?
Yeah, no, I'm too lazy to replicate. I'll just do the same thing.
So there's two ways to play this LePage bartender thing.
Okay.
You can go and get a picture with him, get a drink,
Yeah.
or you can be the really difficult drink order. You know, like
That's
so if you
true.
didn't like him as governor, you go in with the like elaborate.
You could be.
You know.
Yeah. That's true. It's interesting. I mean,
Is he working full time or is it just like a little PR?
I don't know.
I know. Didn't Anne LePage work as a bartender or
She was
waitress?
a waitress for
somewhere?
a bit, yeah.
It's interesting. They were are you doing sleep science for Brain Drops today?
Yeah.
They were talking about this on the Today Show today about
This,
like how to sleep with your partner in the heat.
Oh, well.
'Cause sometimes people like one's a fan of air conditioning, the other's not.
Sure. My argument is always you can only take so many clothes off. You can put a bunch on. So
Yeah.
it's better to be chilly and then you can kind of.
Sure. You have blankets and whatever.
Yeah, it's involved. It's involved like that.
Gotcha.
You guys have the mini splits though, right? So that's good. Keeps it cool in the
Yeah.
summer.
Those are cool.
We have a weird where we're living right now. There is a mini split, but it's really far away. So they just put one in to be like, we'll kind of cool the house. So you have to leave the door open to the bedroom and just
for it to
blast
work.
it. So
Yeah.
the bedroom will be like somewhat comfortable, and you get out in the morning and it's friggin' freezing.
Yeah.
In the rest of the house, you know.
It's funny. Both dogs sleep with us, and Lucy is the bigger dog, and she's now like she's overheating, so she sleeps on the floor.
Yeah.
And she's the queen of comfort. Like you put down new sheets and she's on it before you can even like get it all set up. She loves her blankets.
What about
but she's
Tito's in the bed?
sacrificing it. Oh yeah, he becomes a Tito burrito.
Tito.
He bundles himself up.
It's amazing how they can get under there and like seemingly not need oxygen.
No.
Because Reese's does the same thing.
Reese's gets under there.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
Yeah, patent pending on Tito burrito.
Little dogs. They're funny. Proven by science. Of course.
All right, because you didn't get enough of me yet today. Today's brain drops is 5 ways to fall asleep faster, proven by science. I saw this on Quartz with one of my favorite websites. I thought this was pretty good. Some of them are typical, like this one, maintain consistent sleep schedule. This is all stuff that scientifically works, not just,
Sure.
you know. So this one's big, right? Whenever you have to work a morning shift, either one of us, and we switch over.
Even the night shift, it's like,
It's hard.
It throws you for a loop.
It's a change. So do your best with that. Okay, dark sleep environment. This is important, especially now because they found even the glow of your smartphone can trick your brain into thinking it's not totally night. And
or like a blue light of a TV or something.
and reduce melatonin, so that's bad. All right, keep your body cool. So we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Your body actually needs to be cooler than it was during the day in order to sleep efficiently. So if you wake up and your arms and legs are out of there, your body is trying to tell you you need to get cooler, so you need to find a way. So keep it chilly if you can. Avoid caffeine after 2. This one I'm actually a pretty old man about. 2:30 is my max. The half-life of caffeine is 5 to 7 hours, so you figure you go to bed at 9, 2 o'clock. If you go to bed later, you can push it back a little bit. And number 5, this one was somewhat new to me in that if you wake up early, say you have to wake up at 6, but you wake up at 5, don't lay in bed if you can't fall back asleep, because your body and your mind is trained then to lay in bed and not sleep. So it's better to get out of bed, read, and if you get sleepy, go back in. Don't lay there for an hour and a half trying to go back to sleep.
I think that's the biggest takeaway here.
Yeah, it was a new one. I hadn't heard that
Interesting.
before.
Yeah. Thanks, Keith. Double duty. You got this. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.
All right, guys, you have a real anchor tomorrow. See ya.
Bye, guys.